Good morning, friends. We're going to continue our rounding lesson today by rounding to the nearest hundred. What you're going to do today is you're going to follow along on your exit ticket. Remember to listen for the code word. Last time it was at the end of the video. We'll see what part of the video the code word is on today. So we're going to round to the nearest hundred. So we know that today we're going to be looking at the hundreds place. No matter if it's a 3-digit number or a 4-digit number, we're really paying attention to the hundreds place. We're going to start with a 3-digit number. I'm going to start with 234. So since I'm in the hundreds place, I'm going to do my arrows because I need to see what hundred it could round into. Because it's already 234, I'm either going to take all of these numbers away to just make it a 200, or I'm going to add to these numbers in order to bring this whole number up to 300. So it's either going to go to 200 or 300. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over here, and I know I have 200 on the bottom, and I have 300 at the top. Now, I'm going to look at where 230 would fall. I'm not going to worry about the 4 because the ones place doesn't really help us when we round the hundreds. The ones place doesn't really affect if it's closer to 100 or the other 100. The tens place is really what helps us. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ignore that for a second. I'm just going to pretend that this is a 230. And I'm going to think, where would 230 fall on this number line? I would think that it might be like somewhere over here. 230. And now I'm going to look at, if I counted down to 200, how close would it be? Or if I counted to 300, how close would it be? Now, in the first video, and you're counting and you're running by tens, when you counted forward and backwards, you counted by ones. When we are rounding to the hundreds place, we could count by ones, and that would be fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it would take a really long time if we had to count all the way down by ones from 30, or all the way up from 30 to the next 100. So what I'm going to do is take a little shortcut, and I'm just going to go by tens because that will serve the same purpose. Ones or tens, that'll work the same because it'll still help me know how close it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to count backwards by tens. So I have 230, and when I go backwards, it's the same as counting backwards by tens, like 30, 20, 10, 0. It's going to work the same, but I'm just going to say 200. So 230, 220, 210, and then I would go to 200. So that's back 30. Just 30, 20, 10, 0. If I'm counting up to 300, I'm going to count by tens. 230, 240, 250, 260, 270, 280, 290, 300. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. That's up by 70. So I have to figure out, was it easier to go backwards by 30 numbers, or is it easier to go forwards by 70 numbers? And with 234, it was really easy to go backwards by 30 numbers because that 30 is a lot closer to rounding down than it is to rounding up. Oops. My next one that I'm going to round is going to be 264. I'm still rounding to the hundreds place, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my little arrows with the hundreds place. Just like in the last example, it's 264, so I know it could stay at 200 because it already is there, or it can round up to 300. So now what I'm going to look at is putting it on my number line. So I have a 200 down here, a 300 up here. And remember, I'm not going to worry about the ones place here because it doesn't really help me. I'm just going to worry about the tens place. So like 260. I'm going to try to figure out where that would fall. I think it might be like somewhere around the middle. I'm not totally sure. I'm just estimating. Estimating is a good guess. And now I'm going to count by tens again to figure out, is it closer to 200 or closer to 300? So I'm going to go backwards first because I always do that first. You don't have to do that first, but I just like to. 260, 250, 240, 230, 220, 210, 200. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. That went back by 60. How do I get up to 300? 260, 270, 280, 290, 300. 10, 20, 30, 40. That was up by 40. So I have to figure out, was it closer to go back by 60 or up by 40? And it was closer to go up by 40. So 300 is going to be my closest 100. Your code word for this video is tens. Because when you round to the hundreds place, you're going to count backwards or count forwards by tens, because that's really going to help you know, am I going up to the next 100 or going down? For this last example, if you feel confident trying this on your own, I would like you to do this next example on your own. So remember, you're going to look for the number, pause it, try to round it on your own, and then we'll come back together. So your number for this one is going to be 220. Actually, let me change that one. I don't want to do a 20. Let's do 284. Go ahead and pause the video now if you feel like you can do it on your own. When you finish, play the video and we'll check it together. Now that you've come back, we're going to look at the hundreds place because we're rounding to the nearest 100. Same as before, it's already 284, so it could round to the 200, or it could go up to 300. Because when I know I'm going 0, 100, 200, 300. So I have 200 down here, 300 up here. Remember, we're ignoring the ones place. 280 is going to be somewhere in between, maybe right here. I don't really know. Estimating. Now what I need to do is I need to either count back by tens or count forward by tens to see what it's closest to. Remember, I could count back by ones and I could count forward by ones. There's nothing wrong with that, but just take longer. Escape counting by tens is just a shortcut. So I could go back 280, 270, 260, 250, 240, 230, 220, 210, 200. Kind of made a flower there because I ran out of room. That goes back by 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. That's back by 80. And if I go up, 280, 290, 300. 10, 20, that's up by 20. So I have to see, was it closer to go backwards by 80 numbers or forwards by 20? And it was a lot closer again, go forwards by 20. So the nearest 100 here, the one it's closest to, is 300. Your I can statement for this video was I can round to the nearest 100. Great job, and I can't wait to see you in groups today.